Hello. Today is just a short recording to talk about a technique called optionals, maybe types, optional types. It's a technique for working with data, with implementing workflows that work with data. That is pretty common across many languages, and here we're gonna talk about it in the context of a React Native app and built in JavaScript. And the goal here is to get you familiar with what it is, not necessarily teach you all the ins and outs of it. Well, definitely not teach you all the ins and outs and everything about it. It's for you to gain familiarity. The reason I'm making this video is I've recently talked to some fellow programmers, and turns out a lot of them heard the name, but they don't know what it is in practice. So it's hard for them to make a decision when somebody says, hey, how about we change this part of our code to work with the optionals? So after watching this video, you will know what it is, and you might even form an opinion whether that's something you'd like to invest your time in and try it out for yourself, or you have no interest whatsoever and it does not fit for your team and the kind of projects that you're building. So yeah, let's jump right in. I prepared some code, and imagine an example, simple stuff, e-commerce app. We have the React Native mobile app on the front end. We have an API with products on the back end. We get those products from the API, and the backend team is a different team than the front-end team, so we don't know what their priorities are, we don't know what they consider valid. So if data changes, goes through the border between teams, then it's not our data, they own it. We would have to check and transform this data so it fulfills the purpose that we have for it, right? And that's the crucial thing here, because this is about the workflow, how we get it from their format into our format in a convenient way. So the product that comes from them is simple. It has a name, price, and a description. Again, for the sake of this example being easy to parse for you. And we would like to do two things with this product. We'd like to adjust the name and make it uppercase, and would like to adjust the price. Price is a bit more complicated, so the reason we might want to do it, I just wanted to have more elaborate example here. So on the back end, the price is just like a number. So if something costs 3.5 euros, it will be 3.50. And for our case, we would like to know on the front end what currency the price is in. So imagine you're taking European products from one API, Italian products from one API, and UK products from a different API, and you need to know that some of them are in pounds, some of them are in euros, right? And also we changed the way we store the value into store it in cents. So instead of 3.50, we would store 350 euro cents, which exactly means the same thing, but it lets us operate on the integers, which gets rid of those annoying floating errors when you add two values that are you add 10 plus 10 and you get 1999, which is, I know, over exaggeration, but still the point is a lot of libraries that work with money, that you might use one of them, follow this idea that you should store price in cents instead of floating numbers, like integers of cents instead of floating numbers. Anyway, so those two mappers are very similar. What they do is check if the value that we got from the backend is valid for our purposes. In our case, if this name exists, it's a string and it's not empty. In case it's okay, we do the transformation. In case it's not, we return a none type. It's, for now, think of it as something nullable, null, undefined, whatever. With pricing, we do the same. We check if the price is a number. If yes, we do our thing. If not, we return a none, because if an object does not have, if a product does not have a name or it doesn't have a price, there's not much you can do with it. Like you cannot put it in a basket, you cannot sell it. So we would much rather skip those and probably notify the backend, hey, why are you sending us products like this? It's probably a bug somewhere. But we would not want to propagate those products further into our app. So here we have an example of a product with an invalid name, an empty string, and a product with an invalid price, where the price is null, right? And here we have our product parsing strategy, where we have a function called map products that takes all the products it gets from the backend, and it will map them using the map product function, which will be the gist of our example here, and then filters out those that are undefined, which already tells you something about our map product function. It will either map a product from the backend representation to our frontend representation, or return an undefined if that's a product that we cannot use. And later, map products will filter out all those undefined, and it will just pass along the correct ones further into the app. So what map product does is here, and this is where the optionals happen. So we have a pipe which basically lets us chain functions in a way that you have some input in the beginning, you pass it to the first function, the output of the first function goes as the input into the second, the output of the second goes into the input as a third. So basically there's a value that is processed by multiple functions, and in the end it's spit out from the pipe. So what we do here first is we create an optional object from the product. So an optional object is just some wrapping context about the value of the product, because we don't know, like it could be a product, it could be a string, it could be a number, it could be any of those things. And what comes from the backend, right? As you can see, I do not have much trust in data that comes from different systems. So we wrap it with the optionality information. So it can be something, and then we store the value, or nothing. It just adds this information, right? And this information lets us pass it to do a flat map where we use a mapping function, adjust price, that we talked about, that basically takes a product and spits out the product with a modified name. So it maps one version of the product into a newer version of the product, like, well, backend to frontend, right? And similarly, it adjusts the names. So as you can see here, we chained those mappers, adjusting price, adjusting the name, one after the other, but none of them actually implements the logic, what happens if the previous one returned the nullable, the none. Because if we stick to this convention, flat map will take care of it. It will see, hey, is there something inside? And yes, we parse it, we map it, we do things with it. But if there is nothing, we just skip to the next in the chain. So if a product information basically gets deleted at the level when adjusting price, the adjusting name was not gonna blow up, it's just gonna carry along until the end, where we unwrap the value. Because remember, we wrapped it into a context of optionality that's either some or none. And here, if it's some, we return the actual value that was inside. But if it's none, in this case, we map it by default to undefined. So all null values will become undefined, which we can either which we can later use to filter out those incorrect products. Here we have a simple test. We have a couple of backend products. We have a valid product and product with invalid price and invalid name. And in our test, that is obviously green because I ran it before, we can check it only returns valid products. So running this map products over the array of stuff we got from the backend, input is 3 products, output is actually just 1, because we only get the one that's correct. The others get stripped on the way, and we make sure that the name of the one we got has been uppercased and the price has also been adjusted. So yeah, the point here, the optionals basically give you a standard way of working with workflows of data where you don't have to worry about the state in between or while inside the workflow. So in this case, we get a product in the beginning, hopefully we get a product, we get something or nothing in the beginning, then we define the steps, and each particular step does not have to worry about, hey, maybe like it got deleted on the way or not. And in the end, we push out the result. So yeah, that's it. Those are the optionals in 10 minutes. I hope this was helpful. I hope this gives you an instinct understanding of what it is the next time you hear this term. And yeah, have a nice day. Thank you for watching and talk to you later. Ciao.